What do you think it is about the tenor voice that fascinates people?
It's unnatural, right? It's
True.
and the part of the voice that gets people really going and gets the audience's blood boiling and excited is the part that like human beings don't they shouldn't really be able to do. From like G to C, G to D, that's like a very extreme part of the voice. And so hopefully the tenor has figured out how to use that.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's also it's the tenor voice itself. It's for me, it's really fascinating. Like you just said, um, the it's a voice that's in between voices. You know, it's a voice that comes from high and low. So we've got to bring the height and the low, and that's really really difficult to find the balance between both. And this is why it's really yes, we are male voices that sing this voice part. It's really difficult to find your color, to find the right squealer, to find the to find it. You know, we come from castrati. We were counter tenors before, and or castrati before, and then we were told, okay, well, you could sing everything in the chest now. And then one other came and started to sing, to belt out all the high notes, and became famous. And all this history behind the tenor voice and what we are doing today, it's really fascinating.
Did you all always have the high notes, or did you really have to work to find them? Miles, you're shaking your head. That's right. You said you started out as a baritone. When we were talking, you said,
I want to hear that. I want to hear that.
I started as a baritone, I think largely because of like my musical theater background. And that's just where I was living. And it was sort of like each year of school, I got another half tone higher with my voice. It's like, okay, my G is feeling good now. And then like the next year, it's like, okay, now the G sharp or the A flat. I'm like owning that. And it felt like it took probably a decade to actually build my range to a point where I felt comfortable singing
wow.
those high notes in public. It was a slow burn for me. What about you guys?
Andrew?
For me, it was definitely a process. And even now, we're aging into another demographic where it becomes a process all over again. The way I used to sing my high notes in my early 20s is completely different from how I need to do it now. The older you get, the more perfect it has to be in order to not only work, but sound good.
Levy?
I'm a different fach to both of them. So I was very lucky that I was born with a really high voice, and I think to find the high notes in this high voice was not such a huge process for me. I think if I turned out to be a full lyric or a dramatic tenor, I would have had problems how to form the high notes, because then you always confused on how to bring the chest or the power up into the height. It's always a process. But for us, it's I was really one of the lucky people. The repertoire that we sing, like I just explained now, was sung by these tenors that were first castrati or counter tenors. So high notes were always there. But to develop them into the way we sing today, it was a little process. But I'd like to say that it was not a big process for me. It's just I was very lucky.
Well, and you have the perfect technique for a high voice tenor.
I developed the technique, yeah.
It's perfect. Like, yeah. My God.
You're so lined up.
Thank you.
Astonishing.
You want to explain lined up for those who are not tenors?
Yes, please, Miles, explain it.
Oh, no. You're the master. You're the master.
That normally comes at $250 an hour.
No, I mean, Levy, I've unfortunately never been able to hear you sing live, but just from the recordings, you have such a command of like the head voice coming into your full voice. So then when you go up through your passaggio and like the C at the end, it's a C, right? Of Ernesto?
It's a D flat, yeah.
Okay.
It's higher than a C sharp.
Right.
It's much higher than a C. It's much higher than a C.
Well, no, it is though, right? Like that half step, that's like it's a huge difference. I find there's a huge difference between B flat and B, and then there's another big difference between B and C.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get to that part of the voice, it's like a specific approach for each one of those notes.
For a lot of tenors, I think C and up to when you flip above C is where it goes from beautiful to really ugly.
Yeah.
Do you guys have problems with the B? Do you find it a bit? Do you find that you have to do something?
It all depends on the approach.
Like like anywhere, no matter where it comes in the piece. Do you feel like you have to go with this weight to it always? I don't know. I have this feeling that.
That's a really good point because it tends to come at really weighty.
Yeah.
It's like at C you need to give up a lot of that weight, and B you can maybe get away with it. And it normally comes at that point where you're really like, oh yeah, here we go. Here's the high note.
Yeah. See, for me, I feel like I can just shout it and scream it. It will be there. It's like, bam. It's not a problem for me. But just B and A, oh my God, A is also worse. A and A flat for me is really difficult.
Well, and for a tenor like you, that's like right in the middle of your passaggio or something, isn't it?
True. That's where I sit always. Yeah. That's where I'm singing. Yeah. G's are nothing for me, and F sharp. And I think for you guys, it's a bit
probably a third
work because then you have to start to turn. You have to turn the voice. But I'm starting to turn the voice now. But before I was going right through it like Juan Diego and Larry. I was going right through the passaggio and down. But I could go through until A flat and A. B flats are okay for me. It's fantastic. B a problem. It's really strange. I don't know.
The B flat for me is that's that really stressful note where my B flats will crack more often than my Bs. I don't know why. It's just the break in my voice.
See, that's my scream. It'll be there. No, that's totally
like a
scream.
Romeo
It'll
and
be
Juliet.
there.
Yeah,
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, exactly. But I was singing through like the Petrarch sonnets or something, and there's some B naturals in there that have those have always been really easy because it maybe comes from G to B, and it's like this kind of more graceful approach. Those are always easy versus like, Nessun Dorma. It's just like, oh my God.
Welcome to today's edition of Tenor Talk.
This is what we talk about. All we're missing are beers.
Of course, but of course, what else would you talk about?